So buying a home is already stressful enough, but if you're a veteran or active duty service member, the VA home loan is a powerful benefit that most people don't take advantage of. And in 2025, the VA home loan is one of the easiest ways to buy a home with no down payment, get competitive rates, and with also fewer barriers. But many people don't know how to use it. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what a VA home loan is, how it can help you, and how to avoid the most costly mistakes when buying a house. It's important to understand that a VA home loan is simply just a mortgage that's being backed by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Now, the VA does not lend directly to the public, so you have to go through either a mortgage broker, lender, or a bank in order to get access to the VA home loan. Now, the VA is simply there to insure the mortgage, and that's why you're able to get a lot better interest rate, a lot better terms going with the VA loan versus an FHA or conventional. Now, because of this, a lot of buyers or consumers do not realize that the money is not coming directly from the VA, and so they end up falling victim to a lot of marketing scams. There are a lot of different companies that have VA in their title, and they simply prey on veterans, and they end up giving them a lot higher fees and a lot higher rates. So you want to make sure that you're aware of this while you're out shopping and looking for your home loan. Now, let's go into how to find out how much eligibility you have. As far as timing on when to pull your certificate of eligibility, you want to make sure that you're doing this upfront during the pre-approval process, because if there's any mistakes or if it takes any longer or if there's any errors on the specific documents, you want to make sure that you have time in order to correct this. Because what happens is that certificate of eligibility, that's actually, you're going to give that to the underwriter, and the underwriter is going to base all of your benefits on what that document says. Now, before we go into why the VA home loan benefits are so powerful, if you're planning to buy a house this year, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified every time I put a video out. So the benefits of using this type of loan versus going in FHA or conventional is several factors. Number one, there is no down payment, which is going to save you tens of thousands of dollars than if you went with a different type of loan. Then number two, there's also no monthly mortgage insurance, which can help save you hundreds of dollars per month, which will keep your monthly mortgage payment a lot lower. You're also going to get a lot lower interest rate than if you went with an FHA or a conventional mortgage. There's also a lot more flexibility when it comes to credit score. There are limits on some fees that you cannot charge when it comes to a VA home loan. So you cannot be charged an underwriting fee, an attorney fee. You can't be charged a transaction fee from the realtor. You can also not get charged for a prepayment penalty fee as well. So just because some fees cannot be charged to a veteran on a VA home loan, that doesn't mean that there's not any closing costs. And in fact, closing costs can be anywhere from 2 to 3% of the purchase price. But the way around this is you can actually ask the seller to cover this on your behalf. You can either ask them to cover part or all of this. And this is exactly how one of my clients, he's a veteran, he found me on YouTube, did, so that he used his VA home loan benefits, $0 for the down payment, and the seller covered all of his closing costs, so he literally brought $0 to the closing table. Now, knowing these benefits is not just enough. You want to make sure that the property actually qualifies for the VA home loan as well. So you can only use your VA home loan benefit to buy your primary residence only. Also, the condition of the home must be in almost move-in ready condition. Now, you can use this to buy very different types of property. Like you can use it to buy a single family home, a townhome, a multifamily unit, as long as you live in one of the units and can rent out the other ones. You can also use it to buy a condo. However, with condos, that condo must be VA approved, and the lender that you're working with will have a list from the VA of which condos will work for the VA home loan. And also, you can use this to buy land and build a house on it as well. So when it comes to the condition of the home, when you're under contract, a VA appraiser is actually going to go out to the house and do their own inspection. And if there's any major issues with the home, like any termite damage, any rotten wood, foundation issues with the roof, any broken windows, anything like that, or any major health and safety conditions, the appraiser is going to call that out. And what ends up happening is the seller is actually going to have to make those repairs in order for you to close on the home. So it's important that you're working with someone up front that knows the VA guidelines, so that if you do look at a house and you're not sure, you can identify these problems up front to make sure that you're not wasting any time. You can also combine the purchase of land plus the construction cost to build a home on that land all into one single mortgage using your VA home loan benefits. Now, a couple things that you will need is you're going to need a good credit score when it comes to this type. You'll also need to know the cost of the construction portion, or how much it's going to cost to build that home. You'll also need to get the actual builder approved with the VA as well. So here's how this works. So on the day of closing, the seller gets funded for the land purchase. Then the remaining funds gets held in a separate account, and you have 11 full months to complete the build portion. Now, if you go over, then they start tacking fees on, so you want to make sure that this job will get completed within 11 months. Now, you'll have different draw periods within that 11 months once each phase gets completed. And the benefit of using this type of loan is you're only paying on interest on the amount that you're taking out. So you're not paying for the entire amount. Then once the full job is complete, the home is complete, then it converts to a traditional mortgage, and that's when you'll be making the full payments on it. So a funding fee, it's a one-time charge from the VA in order to keep this loan program going. So if it's your first time to use this and you're not putting anything down, then that funding fee is going to be 2.15% of the loan amount. If it's your second time or it's your subsequent use, then that funding fee will increase to about 3.3% of the loan amount. And if you end up putting a down payment, that funding fee will get decreased from there. So for example, if it's your first time using a VA loan and you have to pay a funding fee, you're putting 0% for the down payment, then that funding fee is going to be around $6,450. And this isn't cash out of your pocket. You can actually finance this into the loan. So that's based on a $300,000 purchase price. So then your new loan amount, if you're going to finance that, would be $306,450. Now let's go over who's exempt for the funding fee. So if you're either 10% or more disabled, or if you're a surviving spouse, then you're more than likely going to be exempt from having to pay for this funding fee. And the way that you can double check to see if you have the funding fee or not is to look at your certificate of eligibility, because at the bottom it will say if you are exempt or not. So here are a couple myths that I hear when it comes to VA loans. So number one, a VA loan takes a lot longer to close. No, that is not the case. It takes about the same amount of days as it would with a VA or conventional loan. Number two, sellers do not like VA loans. Again, that's not typically the case. They just need to be educated, and they just need to know up front if their home is going to pass the VA appraisal. Then number three, you can only use the VA home loan one time. And again, no, that this is not the case. You can use this several times in a row, but you might just need to bring a down payment since your eligibility will be used up. So here's how to apply. So about 6 months before you're ready to buy, you want to actually talk with the lender. And at that time, you're not trying to get pre-approved. You're just trying to identify any areas that you need to work on. Then about 3 months before you're ready to buy, at that time, you want to actually get pre-approved. And during that pre-approval process, it takes about 24 to 48 hours. They're going to ask you to fill out a questionnaire. Then they're going to look at a couple things. They're going to look at your credit score. They're going to look at how much income and debt you have, and also how much that you have saved up. Now, you want to make sure that you don't wait until the last minute in order to get these steps done. In case there's anything that you need to work on, this gives you enough time to get that done. So if you're planning to buy a house and want to know exactly how much buying power you have, click on the link in the description, schedule a call, and I'll be